Marcus Chen's heart stopped before his bicycle did. Bare feet. A child standing barefoot in the snow. 6 years old, maybe less, wearing nothing but a thin pink jacket against December's killing cold. Her lips had turned blue. Her small body had stopped shivering, the most dangerous sign of all. She clutched a one-eyed teddy bear like it was the last solid thing in a dissolving world. When Marcus dropped to his knees before her, she looked up with eyes that had already learned not to hope, and whispered 5 words that shattered everything he thought he knew about fate. "Are you Santa's angels?" Mommy said angels would come. Behind her, pinned to a rusted dumpster, a note. 3 words in desperate handwriting. "Can't anymore. Sorry." If you want to know what happens next, subscribe to the channel and follow the story to the end. Comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled. Marcus Chen had been riding for 31 years, through sandstorms in Iraq, through monsoons in Korea, through the kind of grief that made men put guns in their mouths and pull triggers. But nothing, not combat, not loss, not the slow death of everything he'd loved, had prepared him for this. A child. Alone. Barefoot in December snow. "Everyone stop." His voice cracked across the frozen air like a whip. 16 cyclists braked in formation behind him. Tank Morrison, 6'4", 280 pounds of retired Marine, was first off his bike. "What the hell, Marcus? We're gonna miss." Then Tank saw her too. "Oh, Jesus." The big man's voice dropped to something barely human. "Oh, dear God." The girl didn't run, didn't cry. She just stood there, arms wrapped around a worn teddy bear, looking at the 17 men in cycling gear, like they were a dream she'd stopped believing in. Marcus moved slowly. Combat instincts screaming at him to check corners, assess threats. But the only threat here was the cold eating into small bones. "Hey there, sweetheart." He kept his voice soft, gentle, the voice he'd used with Lily before she got sick, before cancer took her away 1 cell at a time. "My name's Marcus. What's yours?" The girl clutched her teddy bear tighter. "Mama said don't talk to strangers." "That's good advice." Marcus knelt in the snow, ignoring the cold soaking through his pants. "Your mama sounds smart. Where is she?" Something flickered in those blue eyes, something that looked like hope dying. She went away. Small voice, smaller than winter wind. She said, "Wait here. Angels would come." Behind Marcus, Doc Williams' retired Navy surgeon hands that had saved lives on 3 continents pushed through the group. "Let me see her, Marcus, now." Doc dropped to her knees, medical training taking over. Fingers on the girl's wrist, eyes checking pupil response, professional calm masking rising horror. "She's hypothermic. Core temperature dropping. How long have you been out here, honey?" The girl looked at the sky. It was dark, then light, then dark again. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. 24 hours. She's been out here 24 hours. Longer. Doc's voice was tight. "She's severely malnourished. When did you last eat, sweetheart?" The girl thought about it. Serious. Like it was a test she wanted to pass. "Mama gave me crackers. Before the car ride. 3 sleeps ago. 3 days. 3 days without food. Standing alone in freezing temperatures while the world drove past." Tank's voice came from behind them, shaking with something Marcus had never heard from the former Marine. "There's a note, Marcus, pinned to the dumpster." Marcus didn't want to look, didn't want to know, but he stood anyway, legs unsteady, and walked the 12 feet to the rusted green dumpster. A piece of notebook paper, lined, torn from a spiral notebook, handwriting that started neat and dissolved into desperation. "Can't anymore. Sorry. Her name is Emma. She's good. Please help her. I tried. I really tried. He'll find me, but please don't let him find her. She's everything. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Below that, scrawled in different ink like an afterthought, "Tell her mama loves her. Tell her angels are real." Marcus's hands shook, not from cold, from rage, from grief, from the kind of helpless fury that made men break things. "Who did this?" Tank read over his shoulder. "Who throws away a child like garbage?" Someone running. Ghost Whitmore spoke for the first time. The former Special Forces sniper rarely spoke at all. But when he did, people listened. That's not abandonment. That's protection. Read the words. He'll find me. Someone was hunting her. Marcus looked back at the girl Emma. Doc had wrapped her in an emergency blanket. Wrench Martinez was offering his own jacket. 17 hardened men transformed into something else entirely by one small child. We need to call 911. Marcus pulled out his phone. No signal. Damn it. Anyone got service? Phones came out. Heads shook. We're in a dead zone. Ghost checked his own screen. Nearest cell coverage is 10 miles south. Hospital's 30 miles north. Doc stood Emma cradled against her chest. She needs IV fluids, core rewarming nutritional support. She needs it now, not in 2 hours when an ambulance finds us. Marcus made the decision in 3 seconds. Same way he'd made decisions in combat. Fast, certain, willing to accept consequences. We're taking her ourselves. Tank, get the support van. Everyone else, protective formation. We're going to Porter Medical. Marcus, Wrench's voice held a warning. We don't know what we're walking into. That note said someone's hunting her. Then they'll have to hunt through 17 veterans. Marcus moved to Doc's side, looking down at the girl. Emma, we're going to take you somewhere warm, somewhere safe. Is that okay? Emma looked up at him. Snow crystals in her eyelashes. Lips still blue. But something in her eyes had changed. Are you angels? Real angels? The question hit Marcus harder than any bullet ever had. 5 years ago, his daughter Lily had asked him almost the same thing. Daddy, will angels come get me when I go to sleep forever? He'd lied then, told her yes, held her hand while machines beeped slower and slower, watched the light leave her eyes on Christmas morning while Silent Night played in the hospital hallway. He wouldn't lie now. No, sweetheart. His voice broke on the words. We're not angels, but we're going to take care of you anyway, I promise. Emma considered this. Then she reached out one small hand and touched his face. Mama said angels don't know they're angels. That's why they're special. Tank's van pulled up. The door slid open. 17 men who'd seen war death and every variety of human cruelty stood in silence as Doc Williams carried a 40-pound child toward warmth. This was supposed to be their memorial ride. December 23rd, the anniversary of Tommy Rivera's death in Kandahar. Every year, the Iron Compass Cycling Club rode 40 miles in his honor. Every year, they ended at the VFW hall with whiskey and stories and the kind of grief that never really healed. This year, the ride had found them instead. Down. The van's heater blasted at full power. Doc had Emma on the bench seat checking vitals with equipment from the emergency kit. Her core temp is 94 degrees. Doc's professional calm was slipping. 2 more hours out there, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Marcus sat across from them, unable to look away from the child. She was so small, so impossibly fragile. The teddy bear-worn brown fur, one button eye missing, stayed clutched in her arms. What's your bear's name? Marcus asked. Anything to keep her talking, keep her conscious. Mr. Buttons. Emma's voice was slightly stronger now, warmth doing its work. Mama gave him to me. He protects me from the bad man. Marcus exchanged a look with Doc. What bad man, Emma? The girl's body tensed. The change was immediate and visceral. Whatever warmth had crept into her expression vanished. Can't talk about him. He hears everything. He has ears everywhere. She pressed Mr. Buttons against her chest. Mr. Buttons keeps me invisible. That's why Mama gave him to me. Doc mouthed silently trauma response. Marcus nodded. He'd seen it before. In soldiers, in refugees, in the broken faces of people who'd survived things that shouldn't be survivable. Nobody can hear us in here, Emma. He kept his voice gentle. It's just us and the angels, remember. Emma studied him for a long moment, testing, weighing. The bad man has blue eyes, almost a whisper. Like ice. He hurts Mama. He makes her do things. He said if I ever talk about him, he'll take me away and I'll never see Mama again. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. Where did you live, Emma? With your mama and... The bad man. Big house. Lots of girls there. They cry at night. Emma's voice had gone flat. Recitation without emotion, a child describing horrors she was too young to understand. Mama said I can't go where the other girls go. She hides me in the closet when men come. Doc's face had gone pale. She knew. Marcus knew. Even without the words, they knew. Trafficking. The girl was describing a trafficking operation. Emma. Marcus forced himself to stay calm. The big house. Do you remember anything else about it? Street signs? Anything you saw? Emma shook her head. Windows had paper on them. Couldn't see outside, but I could hear the trains. Every night. Loud trains. Something to work with. A trafficking house near railroad tracks. Not much, but something. You're being so brave. Marcus reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. When she didn't, he rested his hand on her shoulder. Your mama must be very proud of you. Mama cried when she left me. Tears finally started falling. Silent streams down hollow cheeks. She said she loved me, and she was sorry, and the angels would keep me safe. Then she drove away and didn't come back. How did you get here, Emma? To the gas station. We drove a long time. It was dark. Then Mama stopped and told me to get out and wait. She said no matter what, don't move. Angels would come. Emma clutched Mr. Buttons harder. I waited and waited. Cars kept coming, but nobody stopped. One man honked his horn at me. A lady gave me a blanket, but then she drove away too. Marcus felt sick. How many people had driven past? How many had seen a child alone in the cold and done nothing? You waited good, Emma. He didn't trust his voice for more than a few words. The angels came. Are you really angels? Today we are. The van hit a pothole. Emma yelped, then immediately went silent, that practiced silence of a child who'd learned that noise brought punishment. It's okay. Doc smoothed hair back from Emma's forehead. You're allowed to make sounds here. No one will hurt you. Emma looked unconvinced. Years of conditioning wouldn't disappear in minutes. Tank's voice came from the driver's seat. Hospital's 15 minutes out. We've got a problem, though. And what kind of problem? Black SUV's been on our tail for the last 5 miles. Keeping distance, but definitely following. Marcus moved to the back window. Sure enough, a black Cadillac Escalade tinted windows maintaining exact distance behind the trailing cyclists. Could be coincidence. Even as he said it, Marcus didn't believe it. Could be. Tank didn't sound convinced either. Or it could be connected to whatever that little girl's running from. Marcus looked back at Emma. She'd seen his face change. Somehow, despite everything she'd seen. He found me. Not a question. A statement. Resignation in her voice. The bad man always finds everyone. Not this time. Marcus moved back to her side. Nobody's taking you anywhere, Emma. I promise. You can't promise that. So quiet. So certain. Mama promised too. Everybody promises. Then the bad man wins anyway. The words hit Marcus in a place he thought had gone numb. After Lily died. After his wife Sarah left. After he'd spent 3 years at the bottom of a bottle trying to kill what was left of his heart. He'd learned to stop promising. Learned that promises were just pretty words people used before they broke your trust. But looking at this girl, this frozen, starving, terrified little girl, who'd already learned at 6 years old that promises meant nothing, something in Marcus Sullivan changed. I don't break promises, Emma. He held her gaze. Not ever. Ask anyone who knows me. Marcus Chen keeps his word, even when it costs him everything. 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 Emma was silent for a long moment, processing, weighing his words against everything life had taught her. Then slowly she held out Mr. Buttons. He protects me. But maybe... She hesitated. Maybe he can protect you too. So you can keep your promise. Marcus took the worn teddy bear. One button eye. Fur rubbed bare in patches. A child's most precious possession offered in trust. I'll take good care of him. Marcus tucked the bear into his jacket against his heart. And I'll take good care of you. Promise. Promise. Porter Medical Center's emergency room was quiet for December 23rd. Flu season hadn't peaked yet. The holiday accidents hadn't started. A perfect storm of circumstances that meant when 17 cyclists arrived with a hypothermic child, they got immediate attention. Dr. Rebecca Torres, ER, attending 15 years experience, mother of 3, took one look at Emma and shifted into overdrive. Core temp 94 degrees, multiple signs of malnourishment, possible exposure for 24+ hours. Doc Williams delivered the handoff like the military medical professional she'd been. She's responsive but experiencing obvious trauma symptoms. History unknown, but indicators suggest possible trafficking situation. Dr. Torres's eyes darkened. She'd seen trafficking victims before. The signs were unmistakable once you knew what to look for. I need warming blankets, IV, access nutritional consult. Get Child Protective Services on the line. And someone call the sheriff, we need a statement. Emma grabbed Marcus's jacket as nurses approached. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I'm not going anywhere. Marcus looked at Dr. Torres. I'm staying with her. Sir, hospital protocol. I don't care about protocol. I'm not leaving this child alone. Something in his voice made Dr. Torres reconsider. Are you family? I found her. Marcus held Emma's hand as nurses began working around them. I'm all she has. Dr. Torres studied him for a moment, the gray hair, the weathered face, the military bearing the way his hand wrapped around the child's with unmistakable gentleness. Fine, you stay, but you don't interfere with treatment. Understood. They wheeled Emma to a treatment bay, Marcus walking alongside, never releasing her hand. Behind them, the iron compass filed into the waiting room. 17 men who refused to leave. Tank approached the front desk. Is there somewhere we can wait? Might be a while. The receptionist stared at the wall of leather and muscle blocking her view. The chapel, down the hall. Chapel's good. Tank turned to the others. Let's go pray, boys. I think we're gonna need it. In the treatment bay, Emma lay under heated blankets as an IV dripped fluids into her arm. Color was returning to her cheeks. Her eyes, though still wary, had lost some of their glassy quality. Dr. Torres performed the examination with clinical efficiency and emotional sensitivity, a balance that came from years of practice. She's going to be okay physically. The doctor pulled Marcus aside while a nurse monitored Emma. She's young enough to bounce back from the exposure. But Marcus, the other signs, I know. The bruising on her arms, someone grabbed her hard enough to leave marks. There's evidence of old injuries, healed fractures in her left wrist, and the way she flinches when anyone moves too quickly. She told us about a man. Marcus's voice was steady, but fury burned underneath. Someone who was hurting her mother. Trafficking operation from what she described. Dr. Torres exhaled slowly. I've already called CPS and the sheriff, but it's December 23rd. Skeleton crews everywhere. It might be hours before anyone arrives. There's something else. Marcus lowered his voice further. There was a vehicle following us on the way here. Black Escalade. If what Emma described is real, someone might be looking for her. I'll alert security. Hospital security against traffickers. Marcus shook his head. No offense, but that's not enough. What do you suggest? Marcus nodded toward the waiting room where 17 veterans sat ready. I suggest you let my people handle protection while your people handle treatment. We didn't survive Afghanistan and Iraq to lose a child in a Vermont hospital. Before Dr. Torres could respond, the emergency room doors burst open. A man in a tailored suit strode in like he owned the building. Silver hair, blue eyes, ice blue, just like Emma had described. Behind him, 2 men in dark clothes with earpieces and the unmistakable posture of professional security. I'm looking for my stepdaughter. The man's voice carried command. Emma Whitfield. I was told she was brought here. Marcus moved without thinking, placing himself between the treatment bay and the approaching stranger. And who are you? those ice blue eyes fixed on Marcus with predatory assessment. My name is Victor Constantine. I'm Emma's stepfather. Her mother called me an hour ago frantic. There was a misunderstanding. Emma wandered away while her mother wasn't feeling well. Wandered away. Marcus kept his voice flat. 30 miles from anywhere, in December, barefoot. Victor's smile didn't waver. Children do impulsive things. I'm sure you understand. I'm here to take her home. I don't think so. Something flickered behind Victor's composure, just a flash. But Marcus had seen it before in men who weren't used to being told no. Excuse me. The girl stays here until law enforcement arrives. Hospital protocol. Victor's smile sharpened. I don't think you understand the situation, Mr. Chen. Marcus Chen. Mr. Chen. Victor took a step closer. His security detail shifted. That child is my responsibility. I have documentation. Legal guardianship papers. I'm simply here to collect what's mine. What's yours? Marcus didn't budge. She's a child, not property. A distinction without a difference, legally speaking. Victor's voice had dropped to something quieter and more dangerous. I don't know who you are or why you're involving yourself in family business, but I suggest you step aside before this becomes complicated. Marcus, Tank's voice came from behind. Somehow the waiting room had emptied. 17 veterans now stood in a loose semicircle, blocking every exit from the ER. Everything okay? Victor turned, registering for the first time the number of men behind Marcus. His security detail, just 2 men, suddenly seemed inadequate. This is a private matter. Victor's composure was slipping, barely, but slipping. There's no need for an audience. See, that's where you're wrong. Tank stepped forward, all 280 pounds of him. We found that little girl. She told us about the bad man with ice blue eyes who hurts her mama. Now here you are, blue eyes and all, trying to take her. Whatever that child told you was fantasy. She's troubled, prone to stories. Stories about bruises on her arms. Doc Williams pushed through the group medical bag in hand. Stories about healed fractures. Stories about girls who cry in the night while men visit a big house near railroad tracks. Something in Victor's expression went cold. Completely cold. Like ice forming over a deep lake. You're making a mistake. His voice was quiet now. The quiet that preceded storms. All of you. A mistake you'll regret. We've made mistakes before. Marcus stepped closer, close enough to smell the expensive cologne. Regret's something we live with. But walking away from a kid who needs help, that's not a mistake we're willing to make. So Victor's jaw tightened. His security detail moved forward. Sir. Hospital security had finally arrived. 2 guards, both looking uncertain about what they'd walked into. Is there a problem here? These men are interfering with my attempt to collect my stepdaughter. Victor's voice had shifted again, reasonable now, concerned parent. The child is unwell, and I have legal documentation proving guardianship. He's lying. The voice came from the treatment bay. Emma Thor, still in her arm, had pushed back the curtain. She was shaking but standing. He's not my stepdaddy. He's the bad man. He hurts my mama. He hurts everyone. Emma, sweetheart. Victor's tone oozed false warmth. You're confused. You've been through a lot. Come with me and we'll— No! Emma screamed it, pure terror. He's lying. He's a liar. He makes Mama do bad things. He locked me in the closet. He said if I ever told anyone, he'd make me disappear like the other girls. The hospital security guards exchanged looks. Whatever training they had didn't cover this. Sir, the older guard stepped forward. I think everyone needs to calm down. We're going to need to verify some things before anyone— I want to see documentation. Dr. Torres emerged from behind the desk, white coat, crisp with authority. Birth certificate, adoption papers, legal guardianship order, and I want to call the number listed on those documents to verify. Victor's composure cracked, just for a moment, but everyone saw it. This is absurd. I'm trying to help a confused child. Then paperwork shouldn't be a problem. Dr. Torres crossed her arms. Until then, this child is a patient under hospital care. And she's made it clear she doesn't want to leave with you. We're not releasing her. Victor's ice blue eyes swept the room. 17 veterans, 2 security guards, 1 doctor who wasn't backing down, and 1 terrified child whose testimony, if believed, could destroy empires. This isn't over. He straightened his jacket. I'll be back with documentation and lawyers. Lots of lawyers. Looking forward to it. Marcus didn't move until Victor and his men were through the exit doors. Tank was at the window immediately. Black Escalade. 3 men, they're on their phones, making calls. He's going to come back with more than lawyers. Ghost's voice was quiet but certain. That man has the look. He's not used to losing. Then we make sure he keeps losing. Marcus turned back to Emma's treatment bay. The girl had collapsed on the bed, sobbing. Doc, stay with her. Everyone else, we need to talk. Now. The hospital chapel was small. A dozen pews, a simple altar-stained glass that glowed even at night. 17 men filled every seat. Here's what we know. Marcus stood at the front. That girl was part of a trafficking operation. Her mother left her at that gas station trying to save her from whatever Victor Constantine was going to do. He found out, tracked her here, and now he's coming back with reinforcements. What's our play? Wrench leaned forward. Because that guy had federal investigation written all over him. If he's running an operation big enough to require security details and legal documentation on demand, we're not dealing with small time. We call the FBI. Doc's voice came from the doorway. She'd left Emma with a nurse. Right now. This is bigger than local sheriff. FBI takes time. Ghost shook his head. Time we might not have. He said he'd be back. Could be hours. Could be 20 minutes with the right connections. Then we take her somewhere he can't find her. Tank stood up. I've got a cabin up in the Green Mountains, off-grid, no address on any database. We hole up there until the feds can take over. That's kidnapping, one of the newer members spoke up. Technically, she's not our kid. And leaving her here is what... Marcus's voice was sharp. Letting a trafficker walk out with a child after what she told us. After what we saw. Silence. The weight of the question pressing down on every man. I spent 22 years in the army. Marcus looked around the room. I've done things I can't talk about. Made choices that keep me up at night. But the one thing I've never done, the one line I've never crossed, is walk away from someone who needed help. He pointed toward the treatment bay. That little girl asked if we were angels. Her mama told her angels would come. Not police, not social workers, angels. Because whoever wrote that note knew the system wouldn't save her daughter. Knew that institutions fail people every single day. His voice dropped. I watched my daughter die in a hospital just like this one. Watched machines breathe for her because her own lungs couldn't. Watched doctors shake their heads while my wife screamed that God had abandoned us. The room was silent. Many of them knew the story. None of them had heard Marcus speak about it so directly. I couldn't save Lily. That's a failure I'll carry to my grave. But maybe I can save this one. Maybe that's why we found her. Maybe that's why we were on that road on that day at that exact moment. He looked at each man in turn. I'm not asking anyone to come with me. This is my choice, my risk. If this goes wrong, the club stays clean. I did it alone. Tank stood up. Like hell you did. Ghost rose beside him. I've been waiting 15 years for a fight worth having. Doc crossed to Marcus's side. She needs medical supervision. You need me. One by one, every member of the Iron Compass stood. Wrench, Spider, Bishop. 14 more. 17 men bound by something stronger than blood. Then it settled. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Something that had been broken for a long time starting to mend. Tank, pull the van around back. Doc, get Emma ready to move. Ghost, your point on surveillance. Everyone else, we ride. He paused at the door. And somebody call the FBI. Tell them Victor Constantine is about to have a very bad night. Done. They moved Emma through the service entrance. Doc had her wrapped in blankets of disconnected but supplies packed. The girl was barely conscious, exhaustion and trauma finally catching up to her. Where are we going? Small voice against Doc's shoulder. Somewhere safe, sweetheart. Somewhere the bad man can't find you. Mama said that too. Emma's eyes fluttered. Then the bad man found us anyway. Marcus walked beside them, eyes scanning every shadow. Your mama didn't have 17 angels. We're harder to catch. The van was waiting. Tank at the wheel. Bikes already loaded in the trailer. We've got company. Ghost materialized from the darkness. 2 vehicles just pulled into the lot, moving tactical. How long? Minutes, maybe less. Marcus made the calculation. They couldn't outrun pursuit in the van, but they could outmaneuver. Change of plans. Tank, you take Emma and Doc through the back roads. No GPS, no phones, nothing they can track. Ghost, you're with me. Everyone else spread out. If they want to find her, they're going to have to chase all of us. They'll catch some of us. Wrench said what everyone was thinking. Then make it cost them. Marcus met each man's eyes. No violence unless they start it. But they don't get near that van. Whatever it takes. Engines roared to life across the parking lot. 17 cyclists splitting in 17 directions. Marcus watched the van disappear into the night carrying a 6-year-old girl who'd asked if he was an angel. Behind him, headlights approached. 2 black SUVs. Moving fast. He keyed his radio. Tank, you clear, static. Then clear, heading north. She's okay, Marcus. She's asking about you. Tell her I'm keeping my promise. Copy that. Marcus smiled. The first real smile in years. Then he turned his bike toward the approaching vehicles and opened the throttle. The hunt was on, and the angels weren't running anymore. The first SUV nearly clipped Marcus's rear tire. He swerved hard, leaning into the turn with 30 years of muscle memory. Headlights filled his mirrors. Engine roar behind him. Ghost, you still with me? The radio crackled. On your 6, 2 vehicles, 4 men per vehicle. They're not playing around. Marcus pushed the throttle harder. The December wind cut through his jacket like frozen razors. Then neither are we. Split at the next intersection. Draw them away from Tank's route. Copy. The intersection came up fast. Marcus went left. Ghost went right. Behind them, the SUVs hesitated, then split, one following each cyclist. Good. Divide and conquer. Marcus's SUV was gaining. The driver knew these roads, knew where they led, knew that eventually Marcus would run out of highway. The radio crackled again. Different voice this time. Wrench. Marcus, I've got eyes on a 3rd vehicle. They had backup waiting. It's heading north. North. Toward Tank. Toward Emma. How far behind Tank? Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe less. Marcus made a decision. Ghost, keep your tail busy. I'm doubling back. You can't outrun them, Marcus. That bike's fast, but... I'm not trying to outrun them. I'm trying to buy time. He cut across a gas station parking lot, tires screaming on frozen pavement. The SUV followed slower through the tight turn. Marcus gained 50 yards. Not enough, but something. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He shouldn't answer. Every instinct said, ignore it. He answered anyway. Mr. Chen. Victor Constantine's voice was smooth as silk over broken glass. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Good. I admire your dedication, truly. But you don't understand what you've involved yourself in. That child is valuable to people who don't accept failure. She's 6 years old. She's a witness, a very dangerous witness, and the people I work for have very long memories. Victor's voice hardened. Walk away now. Take your little cycling club and go home. Pretend tonight never happened. I'll even compensate you for your trouble. $200,000, cash, tonight. Marcus watched his mirror. The SUV was closing again. You think I can be bought? Everyone can be bought, Mr. Chen. It's simply a matter of finding the right price. Perhaps money doesn't move you. Perhaps something else. I know about your daughter. Lily. Leukemia wasn't it terrible way to lose a child. I have connections in medical research, experimental treatments. I could fund a wing in her name. The Lily Chen Pediatric Cancer Center. Think of the children you could save. Marcus's grip tightened on the handlebars. The old grief surged up fresh as the day they'd lowered Lily into frozen ground. You don't get to say her name. I'm offering you a legacy, Mr. Chen. A chance to turn tragedy into... You're offering me a bribe to let you take a child you've been trafficking, a child whose mother you've been torturing. There's no amount of money in the world that would make me walk away. Silence on the line. When Victor spoke again, all pretense of civility was gone. Then you've chosen your fate, and so has that little girl. By sunrise, you'll both be problems that no longer exist. The line went dead. Marcus threw the phone away. It shattered against the pavement. Ghost change of plans. Everyone converge on the North Road. They're going after Emma directly. What about... I'll handle my tail. Just get to that van. Marcus braked hard. The SUV behind him wasn't expecting it. The driver swerved to avoid collision tires losing grip on icy asphalt. The vehicle spun once, twice, then slammed into a snowbank. Marcus didn't wait to see if they recovered. He was already racing north. Tank's voice came over the radio, tight with controlled fear. We've got headlights behind us, coming fast. How's Emma? Asleep. Doc gave her something to help her rest. She was having nightmares. What kind of nightmares? The bad kind. Screaming about closets and men with blue eyes. Marcus pushed his bike harder. The engine screamed in protest. I'm 15 minutes out. Maybe less. We might not have 15 minutes, Marcus. Doc's voice cut in. There's a turnoff ahead. Old logging road. I used to hike it with my husband before he passed. It leads to a hunting cabin, not Ghost's place, but abandoned. Off every map. Will the van make it? It'll be rough, but it'll make it. Do it. Kill your lights before you turn. Go dark. Copy. Marcus watched the GPS dot on his phone. Tank's location shared before they'd split up. The dot moved steadily, then veered east, off the main road, into darkness. He was 12 minutes away when his radio picked up a new frequency. Official channels. Sheriff's Department. All units, we have a bolo for a white passenger van, Vermont plates, traveling north on Route 7. Possible kidnapping in progress. Suspects are members of a cycling club. Consider armed and dangerous. Marcus's blood went cold. Ghost, did you hear that? Heard it. Constantine's got local law enforcement in his pocket. How is that possible? He's been in town for 2 hours. Because he's been in town a lot longer than that. Ghost's voice was grim. I've been making calls. Victor Constantine owns property in Vermont. Multiple properties. A modeling agency in Burlington. A rehabilitation center in Montpelier. And he's donated heavily to 3 county sheriff campaigns in the last 5 years. He's been setting this up. For years, this whole state is his hunting ground, and we just rode right into the middle of it. Marcus processed this. The scale of what they were fighting suddenly felt overwhelming. Not a single criminal. An empire, rooted deep in the institutions meant to protect people like Emma. What about the FBI? Did you reach them? Agent named Daniel Reeves. He's been building a case against Constantine for 2 years. Trafficking, money laundering, suspected murder, but he can't touch him. Every witness disappears before they can testify. What did he say about Emma? He said she's the first one who might actually survive long enough to talk. Said whatever we do, don't let her fall back into Constantine's hands, because if we do, she'll vanish like all the others. Marcus felt the weight of it settle onto his shoulders. A 6-year-old girl was the key to bringing down a monster, and 17 men were all that stood between her and oblivion. Where's Reeves now? Flying in from DC 8 hours out. Maybe 7 if the weather holds. 7 hours. An eternity when every minute felt like borrowed time. Then we hold for 7 hours. Against half the sheriff's department and Constantine's private army. Yes. Ghost was quiet for a moment. Then, you're crazy, Marcus. You know that. I've been told. Good. I like crazy. Crazy wins wars. Marcus reached the logging road turnoff. No tire tracks visible. Tank had killed his lights and hidden his approach well. The road was barely visible, overgrown and treacherous. He turned off his headlight and followed the path by moonlight. The cabin appeared after 2 miles. Small. Wooden. Practically invisible in the forest. Tank's van was parked behind it, already covered with branches and snow. Marcus cut his engine and walked his bike the last 100 yards. No sound. No light. They'd done this right. Tank met him at the door, face pale in the darkness. She's asking for you. How is she? The sedative wore off about 10 minutes ago. She woke up screaming. Won't let anyone touch her except Doc. Tank's voice caught. She keeps asking if you broke your promise. Marcus pushed past him into the cabin. Doc sat in the corner, Emma curled in her lap. The girl's eyes were red from crying, her small body trembling. Emma. Marcus knelt beside them. I'm here, just like I promised. Emma's head lifted. For a moment, something like hope flickered in her eyes. Then it died. The bad man's coming. Mr. Buttons told me. Mr. Buttons is still safe. Marcus pulled the worn teddy bear from his jacket. See, right here. Emma grabbed the bear and held it tight. He said they're coming. Lots of them. He said they'll find us, like they found the other girls. What other girls, Emma? The ones who tried to run. Her voice dropped to a whisper. They always found them. Then the girls went away and never came back. Mama said they went to heaven. But I don't think she was telling the truth. Doc's arms tightened around Emma. Her eyes met Marcus's, filled with horror she was trying not to show. Emma, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Marcus kept his voice steady. The bad man is not going to find you. I have friends coming. Very important friends. They're going to make sure he never hurts anyone ever again. Important friends don't help people like me. Emma's voice was flat. Too old for a 6-year-old. That's what Mama said. The important people are the ones who pay the bad man. The judges, the police, the men in nice suits. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow, because Emma wasn't wrong. In her short life, she'd seen exactly how corruption worked, how power protected itself, how the system failed the most vulnerable. Not all of them. Marcus thought of Agent Reeves flying through the night. Some important people actually fight the bad guys. I know one. He's coming to help. Will he be here before the bad man? I don't know. Emma nodded. She'd expected that answer, had already made peace with it. It's okay. She clutched Mr. Buttons. Mama said sometimes the bad guys win. She said the important thing is to be brave anyway. Your mama sounds very smart. She's strong too. For the first time, something like pride entered Emma's voice. She protected me, even when the bad man hurt her. She always made sure I was safe. She hid me in the closet when the men came. She sang to me so I wouldn't be scared. What did she sing? You are my sunshine. Emma's voice cracked. She sang it every night, even when she was crying, even when I could hear her crying through the closet door. Marcus couldn't speak. The image was too vivid, too painful. A mother trapped in hell singing to her daughter through a closet door while men did unspeakable things. Do you know what happened to your mama, Emma? After she left you at the gas station, Emma shook her head. She said she had to go away. She said the bad man would follow her so he wouldn't follow me. She said, the tears started again. She said she loved me more than anything in the whole wide world, and she was sorry. She was so sorry. Doc's voice was rough with emotion. She was trying to draw them away from you, sweetheart. She was being a hero. Is Mama dead? The question hung in the cold air. Marcus didn't know how to answer. Didn't know if the truth would be better or worse than uncertainty. I don't know. He chose honesty. But I'm going to find out. And if she's alive, I'm going to bring her home to you. Promise. That word again. That weight. I promise to try. That's the best I can do. Emma considered this. Then she nodded. Okay. Trying is good. Mama always said trying is what matters. The radio on Marcus's belt crackled. Ghost's voice low and urgent. Marcus, we've got movement. Multiple vehicles on the main road. They're searching. How close? 2 miles. Maybe less. They haven't found the logging road yet. But it's only a matter of time. Marcus stood. Everyone armed. Tank checked his weapon. We've got the guns we brought, but we're outmanned and outgunned. Then we don't fight unless we have to. Ghost, what's the terrain like around the cabin? Dense forest. Good cover. But limited escape routes. If they surround us, we're trapped. Then we don't let them surround us. Marcus's mind raced through tactical options. 30 years in the army hadn't left him. Neither had the cold calculation that came with survival. There's got to be another way out. Every hunting cabin in these mountains has an emergency exit. Hunters don't like being trapped any more than soldiers do. Doc spoke up. There's a root cellar. My husband used to use it for storage. It connects to an old mine shaft that comes out about half a mile east. An escape tunnel. More or less. It's tight. And it hasn't been used in years. But it's there. Marcus made the decision instantly. Doc, you take Emma through the tunnel. Tank goes with you for protection. Everyone else stays here as a decoy. We make noise draw their attention. Give you time to get clear. What about you? I'll be fine. Marcus. That wasn't a request. He knelt down to Emma's level one more time. I need you to be brave for a little longer, okay? Go with Doc. She's going to take you somewhere safe. What about you? I'll catch up. You're lying. Emma's eyes were too knowing. Too old. Mama lied too, when she said she'd come back. I'm not your mama. Marcus held her gaze. I don't lie. When I say I'll catch up, I mean it. Promise. Promise. Emma reached out and touched his face again, the same gesture as before. But this time she left something in his palm. A button, worn smooth from years of handling. Mr. Buttons gave this to you, so you remember to come back. Marcus closed his fingers around the small button. It was nothing. A piece of plastic from a child's toy. It was everything. I'll keep it safe. Doc lifted Emma and moved toward the root cellar entrance. Tank followed, checking his weapon one last time. You're sure about this, Marcus? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Tank nodded. There was nothing else to say. The big man disappeared into the darkness. Marcus turned to the remaining members of Iron Compass. Ghost, Wrench, Spider, Bishop. 10 more men, all of them watching him with the steady eyes of veterans who'd accepted they might not see sunrise. Here's the situation. Bad guys are coming. Good guys are running. We need to buy as much time as possible. He checked his own weapon. No heroics, no martyrs. We delay, then we scatter. Regroup at the secondary location once the heat dies down. And if the heat doesn't die down, Wrench asked, then we adapt. Marcus moved to the window, peering through a crack in the boards, headlights in the distance, getting closer. Everyone in position. They find the logging road, we make them regret it. The next 10 minutes lasted forever. The search vehicles passed the logging road 3 times. Each time Marcus held his breath. Each time they kept going. But he knew it wouldn't last. Victor Constantine hadn't built an empire by missing details. Somewhere out there, someone was analyzing maps, calculating probabilities, narrowing down the search grid. Eventually, they would find the road. Eventually, they would find the cabin. And when they did... Ghost's voice in his ear. We've got incoming. 3 vehicles. They've found us. Marcus watched the headlights turn onto the logging road. 3 SUVs. 12 men at minimum. Probably more. Against their 8. On my signal, everyone opens up. Aim for tires, not people. We're not murderers. But we're not pushovers either. What's the signal? Marcus waited until the first SUV was 100 yards out. Close enough to hit, far enough to retreat. He raised his rifle and shot out the lead vehicle's front tire. The night exploded. Gunfire, shouting, engines revving. The first SUV swerved off the road, crashing into a tree. The second tried to reverse, but Wrench's shot took out its rear tire. The third stopped, doors flying open as men poured out. Fall back! Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. Secondary positions. They moved like the soldiers they'd once been. Covering fire. Tactical retreat. Ghost providing overwatch from his elevated position, each shot precisely placed to wound, not kill. But Constantine's men weren't amateurs. They pressed forward using their numbers to flank and advance. Marcus felt a bullet whistle past his ear. Too close. Way too close. They're surrounding us. Spider's voice was tight with fear. East side's compromised. Then we go west. Everyone toward the tunnel entrance. We're done delaying. It's time to run. They ran, through the forest, through the darkness, bullets snapping through branches around them. Marcus was the last to reach the root cellar. He could hear footsteps behind him, could hear voices shouting commands, but he could also hear something else, something that made him freeze at the cellar entrance. Doc's voice on the radio, panicked, broken. "Marcus, the tunnel, it's collapsed. We can't get through, we're trapped. Emma's with me, but we're trapped, and I can hear them coming from both sides." Marcus's blood turned to ice. They were surrounded, and Emma had nowhere left to run. Marcus didn't hesitate. He dropped into the root cellar boots, hitting packed earth. The darkness was absolute, the air thick with dust and decades of neglect. "Doc, where are you?" 50 yards in, the shaft collapsed about 10 feet ahead of us. Rocks everywhere. Tanks trying to dig through, but what? Tank's voice came over the radio, strained with effort. "It's not rocks, Marcus. It's a cave-in. We're looking at tons of debris. We'd need heavy equipment to clear this." Marcus's mind raced. Behind him, footsteps pounded through the cabin above. They had minutes, maybe less. "Is there another way out?" "Not that I can see." Doc's voice was tight with controlled fear. "The tunnel just ends." Emma's small voice cut through the radio static. "Mr. Button says there's a door." Marcus froze. "What door, Emma?" "He says there's a door that people forgot, behind the rocks, where the water used to be." Doc's voice again. "Marcus, she's been saying that since we hit the cave-in. I don't see any weight." A pause, shuffling sounds. "There's a gap here, behind a support beam. It's small, but I think I can feel air coming through." "How small?" "Too small for Tank. Too small for me." Another pause. "But not too small for Emma." Marcus's stomach dropped. "No, absolutely not. We're not sending a 6-year-old through an unknown tunnel alone." "Marcus." Tank's voice was heavy. "They're coming. I can hear them in the cabin. We've got 2 minutes, maybe 3. If Emma can fit through that gap..." "She's 6 years old. She's the whole reason we're here." Tank's words cut through the argument. "If Constantine gets her, everything we've done means nothing. Every risk, every bullet, all of it for nothing." Marcus slammed his fist against the tunnel wall. The pain helped him think. "Emma." He kept his voice calm, steady. "Can you hear me?" "Yes." "Do you think you can fit through that gap?" Silence. Then, "Mr. Button says I can. He says it goes to the outside, to where the water used to come out. An old drainage tunnel." Doc's voice held sudden hope. "These mountains are full of them. If she's right..." "I'm scared." Emma's voice trembled. "It's dark." "I know, sweetheart." Marcus closed his eyes. "But sometimes being brave means doing scary things. Remember what your mama said about being brave anyway?" "Yes. This is one of those times. I need you to go through that gap and keep going until you see light. Can you do that for me? Will you be there when I come out?" Marcus looked back toward the cabin. The footsteps were getting closer. He could hear voices now shouting commands, coordinating a search. "I'll find you. I promise." "You keep saying that." Emma's voice was quiet. "Mama kept saying that too." "I'm not your mama, Emma. When I make a promise, I keep it. Ask Mr. Buttons. He knows." A long pause. Then, "Mr. Buttons says you're telling the truth. He says your heart sounds different from the liars." Marcus had no idea what that meant, but he'd take it. Give Emma the flashlight. He spoke to Doc now, and the radio. She needs to stay in contact. "Marcus, if she gets lost in there..." "She won't. She's got Mr. Buttons to guide her." Marcus didn't fully believe in a child's intuition about a stuffed toy, but Emma believed. And right now, her belief might be the only thing that saved her life. "Okay, sweetheart." Doc's voice was gentle. "I'm going to boost you up to the gap. You take this flashlight and this radio. Keep the radio on. We'll talk to you the whole way. What about you? We'll find another way out. Promise?" "Promise." Marcus heard shuffling, grunting, the sound of small feet scrambling against rock. "I'm through." Emma's voice came over the radio, echoing slightly. "It's really small in here, But Mr. Button says keep going. That's right, Emma. Keep going. Follow the air. It'll take you outside. Above them, a door crashed open. Flashlight beams cut through the darkness of the cabin. Ghost. Marcus spoke into his radio. I need a distraction. Big one. Right now. On it. 3 seconds later, an explosion rocked the forest. Not a bomb, Ghost didn't carry explosives, but a fuel tank from one of the crashed SUVs ignited by a well-placed shot. Screaming. Chaos. Footsteps scrambling away from the cabin. Tank dock, move. Now. Back the way we came. They'll be focused on the fire. What about Emma? I'm going after her. There's got to be another entrance to that drainage tunnel. I'll find it. Marcus. Go. He didn't wait for confirmation. He scrambled out of the root cellar, staying low, moving toward the eastern slope where Emma had said the water used to come out. Behind him, gunfire erupted again. His people covering the escape. His people risking their lives for a child they'd known less than 12 hours. The radio crackled, Emma's voice small and scared but steady. I can see something ahead. Light. I think it's the moon. Keep going, Emma. I'm coming to meet you. Marcus ran. His lungs burned in the frozen air. His legs screamed from exertion, but he didn't slow down. The drainage outlet was exactly where mountain logic said it would be, at the base of the slope, where water would naturally flow. A concrete pipe maybe 3 feet in diameter, half buried in decades of leaves and debris. He could see the flashlight beam inside, getting closer. Emma, I'm here. I can see your light. I can see you too. She emerged from the pipe like a butterfly from a cocoon. Dirty, frightened, but alive. She ran to Marcus and threw her arms around his legs. I did it, Mr. Button said I could, and I did. Marcus scooped her up, holding her tight. You did amazing, sweetheart. Your mama would be so proud. Can we go find her now? Soon. First, we need to get somewhere safe. He was already moving, carrying Emma into the forest away from the sounds of gunfire and shouting. The sounds were getting quieter. Either his people were winning or they were running. Ghost status. Most of us are clear. Tank and Doc made it to the secondary vehicle. Wrench took a hit shoulder, nothing critical. Spider's getting him out now. Casualties on their side. 3 down. Not dead, but not fighting either. The fire distraction worked. Bought us maybe 5 minutes. And Constantine's main force. Still coming. The fire slowed them but didn't stop them. Ghost's voice hardened. Marcus, they've got a helicopter incoming. I can hear it, maybe 10 minutes out. A helicopter? Of course. A man like Constantine wouldn't rely on ground forces alone. Where's the FBI? Still 4 hours out, weather's slowing them down. 4 hours. Might as well be 4 years. Okay, new plan. Everyone scatter. Individual extraction. We regroup at the tertiary location in 6 hours. If anyone doesn't make it... Marcus didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. What about you and the girl? Marcus looked at Emma. She was watching him with those 2 old eyes, waiting to see if he would abandon her like everyone else had. We're going to ground. I know a place. Off the grid. Off Constantine's radar. Where? Better you don't know, in case they catch you. Ghost was quiet for a moment. Then, good luck, Marcus. You too, brother. Marcus killed the radio. From now on, silence was survival. He started walking. Emma in his arms. The weight was nothing, 40 pounds of child against 30 years of military conditioning. He could carry her for miles. Where are we going? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. I have a friend. Someone who doesn't exist in any database. Someone even Constantine can't find. Who? Marcus allowed himself a small smile. His name is Henry, but everyone calls him Ghost. He has a cabin nobody knows about, not even the government. Why doesn't the government know? Because Henry built it himself, with his own hands. No permits, no records, just a place in the mountains where a very smart man goes when he needs to disappear. Are we going to disappear? For a little while, just until the good guys get here. Emma was quiet for several minutes. Marcus kept walking, navigating by stars and instinct, moving deeper into the forest where vehicles couldn't follow. Marcus, yeah, thank you for not leaving me. The simple words hit harder than any bullet. Marcus had to stop, had to catch his breath, had to force down the emotion threatening to overwhelm him. You're welcome, Emma. Mama said most people leave. She said that's just how the world works. But you didn't. Some of us are too stubborn to do what we're supposed to. Emma actually laughed. Small and tired, but real. You're funny. I try. They walked in silence for another 20 minutes. The helicopter Marcus had been dreading finally appeared, searchlight sweeping the forest floor, engine roar drowning out all other sound. Marcus dropped to the ground, covering Emma with his body. The light passed over them, once, twice. Then it moved on. Why didn't they see us? Emma whispered. Because we're invisible. Marcus stood brushing snow from his jacket. The secret to being invisible is being still. Movement catches the eye. Stillness doesn't. Mama tried to teach me that, how to be invisible, so the bad men wouldn't see me. Your mama taught you well. They kept moving. The helicopter circled twice more, but never came close enough to spot them. Finally, after what felt like hours, Marcus saw what he was looking for. A rock formation that looked natural, but wasn't. Ghost had showed him this place 3 years ago during a hunting trip that was really an excuse to share dark memories and darker whiskey. Marcus felt along the rocks until he found the hidden latch. A door swung open, revealing a tunnel lit by battery-powered emergency lights. Inside, quick! Emma didn't hesitate. Whatever fear she had of dark tunnels had been overcome by recent experience. She walked in like she owned the place. The tunnel led to a larger space, a natural cave that Ghost had converted into a survival shelter. Supplies stacked against the walls. A generator, a water filtration system. Enough provisions to last a month. We're safe here. Marcus sealed the door behind them. Nobody can find us. The bad man always finds everyone. Emma's voice was flat. That's what he says. He says he has eyes everywhere. His eyes don't work in this mountain. Trust me. Emma looked around the cave. Then she looked at Marcus. I'm hungry. Normal words. Simple words. The kind of thing any child would say after everything she'd been through. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. Not break, he'd been broken before. This was something healing, something mending. Let's see what we've got. They found canned soup, crackers, bottled water. Not a feast, but enough. Marcus heated the soup on a camp stove while Emma explored the shelter, Mr. Buttons tucked under one arm. Ghost has a lot of stuff. He likes to be prepared. For what? For anything. Emma nodded like this made perfect sense. Mama tried to be prepared, but the bad man had more stuff than her. Marcus handed her a bowl of soup. Tell me about the bad man, Emma. Tell me everything you remember. The story came out in fragments, disjointed pieces of horror that no child should know. Emma spoke between spoonfuls of soup, her voice sometimes steady, sometimes breaking. Victor Constantine wasn't just a trafficker. He was a collector. He collected girls, young women mostly, but some children too, and sold them to the highest bidder. Rich men who wanted things they couldn't buy legally. Politicians who had appetites they needed to hide. Foreign buyers who had private planes and offshore accounts. Emma's mother, Crystal, had been one of Constantine's acquisitions. Taken from a shelter 3 years ago, promised a job and a safe place to live. By the time she realized the truth, it was too late. She was pregnant, and Constantine saw value in keeping her alive. Mama said he wanted to sell me. Emma's voice was hollow. When I got bigger, like the other girls, but she didn't let him. She hid me, kept me secret. The other girls helped. They said I was their little angel. Marcus's hands shook with rage. How did you escape? Mama planned it for a long time. She said there was a man, a good man, a man who was trying to stop Victor. She said when the time was right, we would run. Do you know who this man was? Emma shook her head. Mama just called him the friend. She said he worked for the government. She said he would help us if we could get to him. Agent Reeves. It had to be. The FBI agent who'd been building a case for 2 years. Crystal must have been his inside source. What happened the night you ran? Victor found out. Emma's voice dropped. Someone told him. One of the guards, maybe. Victor came to our room. He was angry. So angry. He said Mama was going to pay. He said I was going to pay too. Tears started sliding down her cheeks. Mama hit him. I didn't know she could hit so hard. She grabbed me and we ran. We got in a car, one of the guards' cars, and we drove. Drove forever. And then she left you at the gas station. Emma nodded. She said they were following us. She said if she kept driving, they would catch both of us. But if she left me somewhere safe, maybe they would follow her and I would be okay. Her voice broke. She said she was sorry. She said she loved me. She said angels would come. Marcus reached out and pulled Emma into a hug. She sobbed against his chest, the deep, racking sobs of a child who had lost everything. Your mama is a hero, Emma. She saved your life. But what happened to her? Marcus didn't know. The question had been eating at him since the gas station. Was Crystal dead, captured, still running? I don't know. He chose honesty again. But I'm going to find out, I promise. His radio crackled. Emergency frequency. Ghost's voice barely audible. Marcus, we have a problem. Ghost, what's wrong? Static. Then, they found Crystal. She's alive. Marcus's heart stopped. Where? Constantine has her at the Burlington property. He's using her as bait. Wants to trade. Trade for what? The answer came not from the radio, but from a speaker hidden somewhere in the cave walls. A speaker Marcus hadn't known existed. Victor Constantine's voice filled the shelter. Trade for the girl, of course. Hello, Mr. Chen. Did you really think you could hide from me? I have eyes everywhere, including in your friend's little hideaway. Marcus grabbed Emma, scanning the room for cameras, for any sign of how Constantine had found them. Your friend Henry Ghost, you call him, is quite skilled. But he made a mistake 3 years ago. He hired a contractor to help with the electrical work. That contractor works for me. Has for years. The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. The one place they thought was safe. Compromised. Don't bother running. My men are already surrounding the entrance. You have exactly 10 minutes to bring the girl outside, or I start cutting pieces off her mother. Constantine's voice turned cold. The first piece will be her tongue, so she stopped screaming for her daughter. Emma's face went white. Mama! Emma, don't listen to him. Tick-tock, Mr. Chen. 10 minutes. Don't make me wait. The speaker clicked off. Marcus stood frozen, mind racing through options. Fight. They were surrounded. Run, no exit. Hide. They'd already been found. Marcus, Emma tugged at his jacket. We have to save Mama. I know. He's going to hurt her. I know. Then what do we do? Marcus looked at the child whose trust he'd promised to earn, at the worn teddy bear clutched in her arms, at the button still pressed against his palm. We do the one thing he doesn't expect. What's that? Marcus pulled out his phone. Dead no signal in the cave, but the emergency radio still worked. He keyed in a frequency he hadn't used in 20 years. This is Sullivan Charlie, November call sign Maverick, requesting emergency extraction and tactical support. Anyone copies static? Nothing. He tried again. This is a priority 1 distress call. Anyone on this frequency, please respond. More static. Then, Maverick, this is Blackbird. Been a long time, old friend. What's your situation? Marcus felt something release in his chest, a hope he'd been afraid to acknowledge. Blackbird, I've got a hostile force surrounding my position. Civilians in danger. I need backup. How many hostiles? Unknown. At least a dozen, possibly more. And on your side? Marcus looked at Emma. Just me? and a very brave little girl. A pause. Then, we're en route. ETA 20 minutes. Can you hold that long? 20 minutes. Constantine had given him 10. I'll have to. Understood. Blackbird out. Emma was watching him. Who was that? Old friends. People I served with a long time ago. Are they coming to help? Yes. Will they get here in time? Marcus took a deep breath. The math didn't work. 20 minutes against 10. But giving up wasn't an option. I'm going to buy us some time. And how? Marcus looked at the shelter door, then at Emma, then at the radio still clutched in his hand. By doing something very stupid and very brave. Just like your mama. He walked to the door, pressed the release mechanism. Cool mountain air rushed in. Victor, he shouted into the darkness. I want to talk. Silence. Then footsteps. A dozen flashlight beams converging on his position. Victor Constantine emerged from the shadows. Same ice-blue eyes. Same predator's smile. But now behind him, 2 guards dragged a woman. Crystal, Emma's mother. Alive. Barely. Beaten and bloody, but alive. Emma screamed, Mama! Crystal's head lifted. Her eyes the same blue as Emma's found her daughter. Baby! Run! Touching. Constantine stepped forward. Now, Mr. Chen, let's discuss terms. Marcus stood in the doorway, one arm holding Emma back, eyes fixed on the monster before him. Name them. Simple. The girl for her mother. A trade. Emma comes with me. Crystal goes free. Constantine smiled. You even get to keep your life. A generous offer, considering the trouble you've caused. And if I refuse, then Crystal dies. Slowly. While Emma watches. And then Emma comes with me anyway. The smile widened. I always get what I want, Mr. Chen. Always. The only question is how much suffering happens first. Marcus's hand found the button in his pocket. Emma's gift. Her trust. He had maybe 15 minutes until Blackbird arrived. 15 minutes of negotiating with the devil. I have a counteroffer. Constantine raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Me for both of them. You let Crystal and Emma go. Take me instead. And why would I do that? Because I know things. About your operation. About your buyers. About the FBI investigation that's been circling you for years. Marcus was bluffing. He knew almost nothing. But Constantine didn't know that. Agent Reeves has been talking to me, sharing files, building a case. If I disappear, that case goes public. Something flickered in Constantine's eyes. Doubt, just a fraction. You're lying. Maybe. But can you afford to take that chance? The standoff stretched. Seconds felt like hours. Crystal's voice weak but desperate. Don't trade yourself. Just take Emma and run. I'm not leaving you, Mama. Emma struggled against Marcus's grip. I'm not. Marcus held her tight. Nobody's leaving anyone. We're all getting out of this together. Such optimism. Constantine checked his watch. You're stalling, Mr. Chen. Waiting for something. Rescue. Perhaps I hate to disappoint you, but no one is coming. I've made sure of that. You don't know everything. I know enough. Constantine nodded to his guards. Bring them both, the mother and the child. Mr. Chen's usefulness has ended. The guards moved forward, and then the sky exploded with light. Helicopters, 3 of them, military grade, searchlights blazing down on the mountain clearing. FBI, everyone on the ground, now. Constantine's face twisted with rage, his carefully laid plan crumbling in seconds. Kill them! He screamed. Kill them all! Gunfire erupted from everywhere. The guards turned their weapons toward the helicopters, toward Marcus, toward Emma. Marcus threw himself over the girl, shielding her with his body. He felt something hit his shoulder hot, sharp electric with pain, but he didn't let go. Papa Marcus. Emma's scream pierced through the chaos. Stay down! He pushed her behind a rock formation, blood soaking through his jacket. Stay down and don't move. The firefight lasted exactly 4 minutes and 37 seconds. It felt like a lifetime. When the shooting stopped, Marcus looked up. FBI tactical teams were everywhere. Constantine's men lay on the ground, some dead, some wounded, all disarmed. But Constantine himself was gone, and so was Crystal. Where? Marcus tried to stand. His legs wouldn't cooperate. Where did he... Easy, soldier. A familiar voice. A face from 20 years ago. Colonel James Blackbird Morrison knelt beside him. You took a round. Don't try to move. Crystal, he took Crystal. We saw. Team's tracking him now. He won't get far. Emma appeared at Marcus's side. You're bleeding. I know, sweetheart. You got shot protecting me. That's what angels do. Emma started crying again, but these were different tears. Relief, gratitude, love. You kept your promise. I told you. Marcus managed a weak smile. Marcus Chen keeps his word. Blackbird was talking into his radio. We've got him. Constantine's vehicle. Heading east on the logging road. Intercept in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Marcus closed his eyes and prayed for the first time in years that 2 minutes would be enough. The 2 minutes stretched into eternity. Marcus lay on the frozen ground, Emma's small hand gripping his while medics worked on his shoulder. The bullet had gone clean through, painful, but not fatal. He'd been lucky. Luckier than he deserved. Vehicles stopped. Blackbird's voice cut through the chaos. Constantine's making a run for it on foot. He's got the woman. Marcus tried to sit up. A medic pushed him back down. Sir, you need to stay still. That's a mother running out of time. Marcus shoved the medic's hand away. Emma, stay here with the nice people. No. Emma grabbed his jacket. I want to come. You can't, sweetheart. Not this time. But Mama, I'm going to bring her back. Marcus locked eyes with the child. I promise. The last promise. And then we're done with promises, okay? We'll just have truth. Emma's lip trembled, but she nodded. Marcus forced himself to his feet. The world spun. His shoulder screamed. None of it mattered. Blackbird, I need a weapon. You can barely stand. I've fought in worse condition. Marcus held out his hand. Gun. Now. Blackbird studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled a Glock from his hip holster and handed it over. Don't make me regret this. I won't. Marcus moved toward the tree line where Constantine had disappeared. Behind him, tactical teams were organizing a perimeter. Professional, methodical, but too slow. Constantine had maybe a 3-minute head start. In rough terrain, that was enough to disappear. But Marcus knew something the FBI didn't. He knew these mountains. He'd hunted here with Ghost for 15 years. Every trail, every outcropping, every place a desperate man might run. And he knew where Constantine was heading. The old mine, abandoned since the 1940s. Multiple exits. Perfect for escape if you knew the layout. Marcus didn't think Constantine knew, but he was betting the trafficker was running blind, looking for any hole to hide in. The blood loss was making him dizzy. He pushed through it, one foot in front of the other, the same way he'd pushed through Kandahar, through his daughter's funeral, through the years of emptiness that followed. Pain was just information. It told you that you were still alive. He found the first sign 50 yards in. A broken branch. Fresh. Someone had come through here fast and careless. He followed the trail, moving as quickly as his wounded body would allow. Voices ahead. Constantine's harsh with desperation. And Crystal's weak but defiant. Move faster. I can't. Please, I can't. You'll move, or I'll leave your corpse for your daughter to find. Marcus circled left, using the terrain to mask his approach. The mine entrance was just ahead. He could see Constantine now dragging Crystal by her hair gun pressed to her temple. Victor Constantine. The trafficker spun, His eyes widened when he saw Marcus bloody pale but very much alive. "You should be dead." "I get that a lot." Marcus kept his weapon trained on Constantine's center mass. "Let her go." "You're in no position to make demands." Constantine yanked Crystal in front of him like a shield. "One wrong move and her brains paint these rocks. Then we have a standoff. We have nothing. I have leverage. You have a bullet wound and a death wish." Constantine's smile was savage. "Walk away, Chen. Take the girl and disappear. I'll even let the mother live once I'm safely across the border." "You're not crossing any border. You can't stop me. Not alone. Not wounded. Not..." "He's not alone." Ghost's voice came from somewhere in the darkness. Then tanks. Then wrenches. One by one, the members of Iron Compass emerged from the shadows, weapons drawn, forming a semicircle around the mine entrance. Constantine's face went pale. "How? You think you're the only one with eyes everywhere?" Tank stepped forward, his massive frame blocking the moonlight. "We've been tracking you since you left the mountain, waiting for the right moment. The FBI is about 5 minutes behind us." Doc moved to Marcus's side, already assessing his wound. "But we didn't feel like waiting." Constantine's gun hand trembled. For the first time since Marcus had met him, the trafficker looked afraid. "You won't shoot. Not with her in the way." "Maybe not." Ghost's voice was ice. "But I don't need to shoot you. I just need to shoot close enough to make you flinch, and then my friends will do the rest." "You're bluffing." Ghost's response was a single shot that took off Constantine's left earlobe. The trafficker screamed. Crystal dropped to the ground as his grip loosened. Marcus moved before anyone else could react, closing the distance in 3 strides and driving his fist into Constantine's face. The gun went flying. Constantine went down, and Marcus stood over him, breathing hard blood soaking through his bandages. "You lose." Constantine laughed. Blood bubbled from his ruined ear, but he laughed anyway. "You think this is over? You think I'm the only one? Kill me, and 10 more take my place. The network survives. The buyers survive. Your little victory means nothing." "Maybe." Marcus knelt down, bringing his face close to Constantine's. "But you'll spend the rest of your life in a cell, and every day you'll know that a 6-year-old girl brought you down. That a child was braver than you, stronger than you, better than you in every way that matters." The laughter died. Something flickered in Constantine's eyes. Something like fear. "And her mother," Marcus continued. "She's going to testify. Going to name every buyer, every politician, every judge you've ever owned. Your empire ends tonight, Victor. Not with a bang, with a whisper from a woman you thought you'd broken." FBI tactical teams finally arrived. Constantine was cuffed and dragged away, still bleeding, still cursing. But the curses had no power now. He was just a man. A small broken man who'd thought himself untouchable. Marcus turned to Crystal. She lay on the ground where she'd fallen, too weak to stand, too traumatized to speak. "Crystal." He knelt beside her. "Emma's safe. She's waiting for you." The name cut through the fog. Crystal's eyes focused. "Emma, my baby. She's okay. She's the bravest kid I've ever met." Marcus helped her sit up. "She never stopped believing you'd come back." Tears streamed down Crystal's battered face. I tried to lead them away. I thought if they followed me." "You saved her life. You saved all our lives." Marcus signaled to the medics approaching. "Now let these people take care of you. Your daughter's waiting." She can't see me like this. She doesn't care how you look. She just wants her mama." Crystal broke then. Whatever strength had kept her going through years of captivity, through beatings and degradation and hopelessness, it all crumbled. She sobbed in Marcus's arms, clinging to him like he was the last solid thing in a world that had been liquid horror for so long. "Thank you." The words were barely audible. "Thank you for finding her. Thank you for keeping her safe. Thank your daughter. She's the one who guided us. Her and Mr. Buttons." Crystal actually laughed through her tears. "That stupid bear. I gave it to her when she was 3. She never let it go. It saved her life, and maybe mine too." The medics arrived with a stretcher. They loaded Crystal carefully, mindful of her injuries. Marcus walked beside her as they carried her back toward the clearing, and then he heard it. A small voice, screaming through the darkness. "Mama! Mama!" Emma broke through the perimeter before anyone could stop her. She ran full speed, nearly tripping over roots and rocks, tears streaming down her face. Crystal struggled to sit up on the stretcher. "Baby! My baby!" Emma threw herself onto her mother. The impact nearly knocked both of them over. But nobody moved to separate them. Even the hardened FBI agents stood back, watching something sacred unfold. "Mama, I knew you'd come back. I knew it. Mr. Button said you would, and I believed him. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I left you. You saved me. Papa Marcus said you're a hero." Crystal looked at Marcus over her daughter's head. Papa Marcus. The title hung in the air between them. He saved both of us. Crystal stroked Emma's hair with trembling fingers. He's the hero. He's an angel. Emma pulled back enough to look at her mother's face. "Remember, you said angels would come. And they did. 17 angels on bicycles." Crystal's eyes met Marcus's again. Something passed between them. Not romantic, nothing so simple. This was the recognition of two people who had walked through fire and found each other on the other side. "I guess they did." Crystal pulled Emma close again. "I guess they did." The next hours blurred together. Hospital, statements, questions that seemed endless. Marcus was treated for his shoulder wound clean through, like the medics had said. He'd heal. The body always healed, even when the heart didn't. Agent Reeves arrived at 4 a.m. He found Marcus in the hospital cafeteria, drinking terrible coffee and staring at nothing. "Mr. Chen." Agent Reeves. Reeves sat down across from him. Early 50s, gray at the temples, the tired eyes of someone who'd been fighting monsters for too long. "You did something remarkable tonight." "I did something stupid. It worked out anyway." Story of most heroism. Reeves pulled out a folder. "Constantine is talking. Not cooperating exactly, but talking. His lawyers are already circling, but the physical evidence alone will put him away for life." "What about his network?" "That's where it gets interesting." Reeves opened the folder. Crystal, Emma's mother, she kept records. Hidden records. Names, dates, transactions. Everything Constantine thought he'd destroyed. Marcus looked up. "How?" "Photographs. Hundreds of them. Stored on a micro SD card she'd hidden in..." Reeves paused. "In Mr. Button's. The teddy bear. She'd sewn it into the stuffing 2 years ago." Marcus almost laughed. The worn-out bear that Emma had clutched through everything. The bear that had protected her. It had been protecting evidence the whole time. "Does Constantine know?" "Not yet. And by the time he finds out, we'll have executed search warrants on 36 locations across 4 states. Reeves closed the folder. "You bought us the time we needed, Mr. Chen. More than that, you gave us the key we've been searching for." 2 years of investigation, and a 6-year-old girl was carrying the answer all along. Her mother's the one who planned it. She's the hero in this story. There seem to be a lot of heroes in this story. Reeves stood. "You should know the charges against your cycling club have been dropped. All of them. The DA is calling it justified intervention in the interest of child safety. That's a fancy way of saying we did the right thing. It's a legal way of saying you did the right thing. There's a difference." Reeves extended his hand. "Thank you, Marcus, for everything." Marcus shook it. "What happens now to Emma and Crystal?" "That depends on them. Crystal will need time to recover physically and mentally. Emma will need therapy. We have resources for trafficking survivors, housing, counseling, job training. It won't be easy, but... Reeves hesitated. "There's also the matter of Emma's custody. Legally, Crystal is her mother, but Crystal may not be in a position to care for a child alone. Not immediately. The state might need to step in." "No." The word came out harder than Marcus intended. "That little girl has been through enough. She's not going into the system." "I understand your feelings, but..." "Do you?" Marcus stood, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. "Do you understand what it's like to promise a child you won't abandon her? To look into her eyes and see every kid you couldn't save, every wrong you couldn't right, every failure that haunts your dreams. Reeves said nothing. I made her a promise. I keep my promises. If Crystal needs help, I'll provide it. Housing, support, whatever she needs. Emma stays with her mother, and I'll make sure they're both taken care of. That's a significant commitment. I'm a significant person. Something like respect flickered in Reeves's eyes. I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, get some rest. You look like hell. Feel like it too. After Reeves left, Marcus sat alone in the cafeteria watching dawn break through the windows. December 24th, Christmas Eve. A day that had meant nothing to him for 5 years. Maybe this year would be different. He found Crystal's room at 7 a.m. She was awake, propped up in bed, Emma asleep beside her. Both of them battered. Both of them alive. You should be resting. Crystal's voice was rough, but stronger than before. Couldn't sleep. Marcus pulled up a chair. How are you? Terrified, relieved, grateful, confused. Crystal stroked Emma's hair. All at once. That sounds about right. She won't let go of me. Every time I move, she wakes up crying. Crystal's eyes filled with tears. She thinks I'm going to leave again. Give her time. She'll learn to trust again. Will she? After everything. Crystal looked at Marcus. Will any of us? I don't know. Honesty. Always honesty with this woman. But I know it's possible. I've seen broken things mended before. Like what? Like me. The words hung in the air. Crystal waited. I lost my daughter 5 years ago. Leukemia. She was 7. Marcus's voice was steady, but just barely. Her name was Lily. She died on Christmas morning, asking if angels would come take her to heaven. Crystal reached out and took his hand. After that, I stopped living. Oh, I kept breathing, kept eating, kept riding with my club, but I was dead inside. Everything that mattered was in the ground, and I was just waiting to join her. What changed? Marcus looked at Emma, sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. She did. Your daughter. When she asked if we were angels, something woke up. Something I thought I'd killed. His voice broke slightly. I couldn't save Lily. But maybe I could save her. Maybe that was the whole point. Maybe everything I've been through was just preparation. For what? For being the person Emma needed me to be in that moment, on that road, when everyone else drove past. Crystal squeezed his hand. Most people would have driven past. I know, but you didn't. I couldn't. Marcus met her eyes. I saw her standing there, and I saw Lily. I saw every child I've ever failed, every promise I've broken, every time I chose the easy path instead of the right one. He shook his head. I couldn't drive past. Not this time. Not anymore. Silence settled between them. Comfortable. Understanding. What happens now? Crystal asked finally. To us. Agent Reeves says there are resources, housing counseling, but it'll take time to arrange. We don't have anywhere to go. I haven't had a real home in 3 years. You do now. Marcus heard himself saying the words before he'd fully decided to say them. I have a house, plenty of room. You and Emma can stay as long as you need. Crystal stared at him. You barely know us. I know enough. I'm a mess. A traumatized, broken, probably damaged beyond repair mess. I wouldn't even know how to live a normal life anymore. Neither would I. Marcus almost smiled. Maybe we can figure it out together. Crystal was quiet for a long moment. Then, why would you do this? Because your daughter called me an angel. And maybe it's time I started acting like one. Emma stirred in her sleep. Her eyes fluttered open. When she saw Marcus, she smiled the first real smile he'd seen on her face. Papa Marcus. Hey, sweetheart. How do you feel? Better. Emma sat up, still holding her mother's hand. Mama's here. She is. She's never going away again. Emma looked between them. Are we going to be a family now? The question was innocent. Pure. A child's simple logic cutting through adult complexity. Marcus looked at Crystal. Crystal looked at Marcus. We're going to try. Crystal pulled Emma close. We're all going to try. The morning passed quietly. Doctors came and went. Statements were finalized. The Iron Compass members filtered in and out, checking on Marcus, meeting the woman and child they'd risked their lives to save. Tank cried when he held Emma. Didn't even try to hide it. She's so small. How is someone so small, so brave? She had good teaching. Marcus watched the big man bounce Emma on his knee. Her mother's been protecting her from monsters since birth. Her mother's a saint. Her mother's a survivor. That's better than a saint. Ghost brought news from the outside world. The Constantine story had broken nationally. Every network was running it. 17 cyclists saved child from trafficking ring. The Iron Compass was famous. We don't want fame. Marcus shook his head. We just want justice. You're getting both whether you want them or not. Ghost held up his phone. Senator from Vermont is calling for a congressional hearing. Wants to know how a trafficking operation ran for years without anyone stopping it. Good. Maybe some good comes out of this mess. More good than you know. Ghost's voice softened. The FBI recovered 43 victims from Constantine's properties. 43 women and girls who are free tonight because you didn't drive past a gas station. The number hit Marcus like a physical force. 43. 43 lives saved because he'd kept one promise to one child. That's not me. That's Crystal. That's Emma. That's everyone who fought. That's all of us. Ghost put a hand on Marcus's good shoulder. That's what brotherhood means. What family means. Nobody fights alone. The day wound toward evening, Christmas Eve. Hospitals tried to manufacture cheer with decorations and carols, but there was no hiding the institutional reality beneath the tinsel. Marcus found himself in the chapel again. Different hospital, same quiet space. He hadn't prayed in years, hadn't believed there was anyone listening. But tonight, he closed his eyes anyway. I don't know if you're there. I don't know if you've ever been there. But if you are, thank you. Thank you for putting me on that road. Thank you for giving me a second chance. His throat tightened. And if you see Lily, tell her Daddy's okay. Tell her I finally found something worth living for. Tell her I haven't forgotten. I'll never forget. He sat in silence for a long time. No divine response, no miraculous sign. Just the quiet of an empty chapel and the weight of a year's worth of grief starting to lift. When he returned to Crystal's room, he found a scene that stopped him in the doorway. Emma had gathered every member of Iron Compass who'd come to visit. They were arranged in a semicircle around Crystal's bed, and Emma was directing them like a tiny general. Okay, now everyone hold hands. Sweetie, what are you doing? Crystal looked confused but amused. Mr. Buttons says we need to do a family prayer, a real one, because it's Christmas Eve and that's what families do. Tank glanced at Marcus, eyebrows raised. Marcus shrugged. I think we're doing a family prayer. Hands everyone, Emma commanded. They complied. 17 battle-hardened veterans, 1 recovering trafficking victim, 1 wounded club president, and 1 6-year-old girl. All holding hands in a hospital room on Christmas Eve. Now everyone close their eyes and think happy thoughts. Mr. Buttons says that's how you make wishes come true. Eyes closed. The room fell silent. Emma's small voice filled the space. Dear God or Santa or whoever's listening, thank you for sending the angels. Thank you for saving my mama. Thank you for Papa Marcus and all his friends who didn't drive past. Her voice wavered but held. Please help Mama get better. Please help everyone who was in the bad man's house. Please help all the kids who don't have angels yet. A tear slipped down Crystal's cheek. And please tell Lily that her daddy is okay. Mr. Button says she's watching and she wants to know, so please tell her. Amen. Marcus's heart stopped. He'd never told Emma about Lily, never mentioned his daughter's name in front of the child, but somehow Emma knew. Amen. The room echoed. Eyes opened. Hands released. Emma looked directly at Marcus. Mr. Buttons says Lily heard you. In the chapel. She says she's proud of you. The words broke something inside him. Something that had been frozen for 5 years. Something that was finally beginning to thaw. Thank you, Emma. His voice was barely a whisper. Thank you. Crystal reached out and took his hand. Emma took the other. And for the first time since his daughter died, Marcus Chen didn't feel alone. The clock on the wall showed 11:47 p.m. Almost midnight. Almost Christmas. Tank produced a small portable speaker. I downloaded some music. Figured we could use some holiday spirit. He hit play. Silent Night filled the room. The same song that had played when Lily died. Marcus tensed, then felt Emma's small hand squeeze tighter. It's okay, she whispered. Sad songs can become happy songs. You just have to make new memories with them. Out of the mouths of babes, Marcus closed his eyes and let the music wash over him. For the first time in 5 years, it didn't hurt. The clock struck midnight. Merry Christmas, Crystal said softly. Merry Christmas. The room responded, and in that moment, surrounded by found family and second chances, Marcus Chen finally understood what his daughter had meant when she'd asked about angels. They weren't supernatural beings with wings and halos. They were ordinary people who chose to stop when the world kept driving past. The trial began in March. 3 months of healing, 3 months of preparation, 3 months of learning how to breathe again. Crystal testified first. She walked into that federal courtroom wearing a simple blue dress, the first new clothes she'd owned in years, and she told her story to the world. Every detail, every horror, every name. Marcus watched from the gallery. Emma sat beside him holding Mr. Buttons. The child had insisted on being there despite every adult's objection. I need to see him stop being scary, she'd said. I need to see that bad men can lose. So they let her come. Victor Constantine sat at the defense table flanked by lawyers in $1,000 suits. He'd lost weight in prison, lost some of that predator confidence. But those ice-blue eyes still held malice, still swept the room looking for weakness. Until Crystal started talking. He called us inventory. Her voice carried through the silent courtroom. Not women, not people, inventory. Something to be bought and sold. Constantine's lawyers objected. The judge overruled. He kept records of everything. How much each girl earned, which buyers preferred which services. He treated human trafficking like a business because that's exactly what it was to him. The evidence mounted. Photographs, financial records, testimony from 43 survivors, each one adding another nail to Constantine's coffin. The SD card from Mr. Buttons proved devastating. Crystal had documented 3 years of transactions enough to implicate not just Constantine, but 2 state legislators, a federal judge, and 17 wealthy clients across 4 states. Emma squeezed Marcus's hand when her mother described hiding her in closets, squeezed harder when Crystal broke down describing the night they ran. I knew he would follow me. I knew I probably wouldn't survive. But Emma, she had to live. She had to be the one who made it out. And why did you leave her at that particular gas station? The prosecutor asked. Crystal looked directly at Constantine. Because I knew he'd never expect it. The gas station was in the middle of nowhere. No cameras, no witnesses, just a place where someone might stop, might see a child, might care enough to help. Did you have any way of knowing someone would find her? No. Crystal's voice cracked. I just prayed. I told her angels would come. I didn't know if I believed it, but I needed her to believe it. And did angels come? Crystal's eyes found Marcus in the gallery. Yes, 17 of them. The defense tried everything: character assassination, procedural challenges, claims of coercion and false memory. But the evidence was overwhelming. The survivors were unshakable. And when Agent Reeves took the stand to present the FBI's case, even Konstantin's high-priced lawyers knew it was over. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty. All 47 counts. When the verdict was read, Konstantin showed no emotion. But as marshals led him away, he turned and looked at Emma one final time. The child didn't flinch, didn't hide. She stared right back, holding Mr. Buttons like a shield. "You're not scary anymore," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You're just small." Something in Konstantin's expression shattered. The last vestige of power stripped away by a 7-year-old's words. He was led out in silence. Crystal ran to Emma the moment court adjourned. Mother and daughter held each other while cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. Marcus stood back, giving them space. Tank appeared at his shoulder. Life without parole. No chance of early release. Good. The network's collapsing too. Reeves says they've made arrests in 4 states. More coming. Whatever Crystal documented, it's bringing down the whole operation. Marcus watched Emma comfort her mother. The roles had reversed somehow. The child had become the protector. "What happens now?" Tank asked. "Now we go home. Now we try to live normal lives." Is that even possible? After everything? Marcus thought about it, really thought. I don't know, but we're going to find out. The months that followed were hard in ways no one expected. Crystal struggled with nightmares, with trust, with the simple mechanics of freedom. Emma struggled with school with other children who didn't understand why she flinched at loud noises and talked to a teddy bear. Marcus struggled with all of it. With being a father figure to a child who'd lost everything. With being a support system for a woman who'd survived hell. With learning at 53 years old how to build something instead of just protecting it. But they didn't struggle alone. The Iron Compass became family. Tank taught Emma to ride a bike, running alongside her for hours until she could balance on her own. Doc provided medical care and, more importantly, patient listening when Crystal needed to talk. Ghost taught Emma how to be invisible when she needed escape, not from danger now, but from overwhelming crowds and too much attention. The house filled with noise, with laughter, with the occasional shout and slammed door and sulking silence. All the messy, complicated chaos of people learning to live together. Marcus had forgotten what home sounded like. 1 year after that Christmas Eve, Emma celebrated her 8th birthday. The Iron Compass threw a party at the clubhouse. 17 veterans plus spouses, children, friends, over 50 people packed into a space meant for half that many. Emma stood on a chair to blow out her candles. She closed her eyes tight, concentrating on her wish. "What did you wish for?" Marcus asked after the flames went out. "Can't tell. It won't come true." "Fair enough. But I'll give you a hint." Emma leaned close and whispered, "It already came true. I was just saying thank you." Marcus pulled her into a hug so tight she squeaked. "Papa Marcus, I can't breathe." "Sorry." He loosened his grip. I'm proud of you, Emma. So proud." "I know." She patted his cheek with a sticky hand. "You tell me every day." "And I'll keep telling you. Every day until you're sick of hearing it." "I'll never be sick of it." Her voice went serious. "Mama never said it. Before. There wasn't time. There was always too much scary stuff happening. So, I'll never get sick of it. Ever." Crystal appeared beside them, camera in hand. "Can I get a picture, birthday girl, with her papa?" Emma posed dramatically. Marcus tried to smile without looking like he was about to cry. "Perfect." Crystal showed them the screen. "This one's going on the wall." Later that night, after the guests had gone and Emma had crashed from sugar exhaustion, Marcus and Crystal sat together in the quiet. "She called me Papa." Marcus's voice was rough. "She's never done that without the Marcus part before." "I noticed." Crystal tucked her feet beneath her. "Are you okay with it?" "I don't know if okay is the right word. It feels big." "It is big. She doesn't give that word to just anyone." "I'm not trying to replace anyone. I'm not trying to be..." "You're not replacing anyone." Crystal touched his arm. You're adding, that's different. She has room in her heart for more than one father figure. Kids are like that. Are you okay with it? Crystal was quiet for a moment. Her biological father was one of Constantine's buyers. I never knew his name, never wanted to. As far as I'm concerned, Emma doesn't have a father. She never did. Her eyes met his. Until now. The weight of it settled onto Marcus's shoulders. Not a burden. A gift. I'll do my best. I'll probably mess up a lot. We all mess up. The important thing is showing up. You've been showing up every single day since you found her. I'll keep showing up. I know you will. Crystal leaned against him. That's why I trust you. That's why she trusts you. You're the first person in our lives who actually kept their promises. They sat together until the stars came out. Two broken people slowly mending. Two lives slowly intertwining. It wasn't romance. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was partnership. Family. Something neither of them had dared to believe in. The second year brought changes. The Iron Compass officially reorganized as a nonprofit, the Angel Riders Foundation. Their mission rescuing and supporting trafficking survivors. What had started as a Christmas Eve accident became a calling. Crystal led the Survivor Services Program. Her experience, as painful as it was to draw upon, made her uniquely qualified to help others navigate recovery. She spoke at conferences, testified before Congress, became a voice for the voiceless. Emma became the Foundation's youngest ambassador. She visited schools telling an age-appropriate version of her story, teaching children about safe adults and danger signs. If someone makes you scared, she told auditoriums full of elementary students, it's okay to run, it's okay to tell. And if the first adult doesn't listen, keep telling until someone does. She always ended with the same words. There are angels everywhere. Sometimes they wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear suits. Sometimes they wear cycling gear and ride bicycles through the snow. She'd hold up Mr. Buttons. And sometimes they're stuffed bears who carry secrets. You just have to believe they're coming. The message spread. Schools across Vermont adopted Emma's curriculum. Other states followed. What had started with one abandoned child became a movement. Marcus watched it all with quiet pride. His role had shifted, less field operator, more administrator. The shoulder wound had healed, but left lingering damage. Doctors warned about his heart too. Too many years of stress, too much cortisol, too many nights running on adrenaline instead of sleep. You need to slow down, Doc told him during a checkup. Your body isn't 25 anymore. It's not even 45. You push too hard, you're going to break something that can't be fixed. I'll slow down after. After what? After the next rescue? The next crisis. There's always going to be a next something, Marcus. That's how life works. He knew she was right. Knowing and changing were different things. The third year brought Emma's 10th birthday. Double digits, a milestone. She didn't want a party this time. She wanted something else. I want to go back. Marcus and Crystal exchanged glances. Back where, sweetheart? The gas station. Where Mama left me. Where you found me. Why? Emma held Mr. Buttons tight. Because that's where I stopped being lost. That's where the angels came. I want to see it again. I want to remember how scared I was so I can be grateful for how safe I am now. They drove there on December 23rd. 3 years to the day. The gas station looked exactly the same. Same pumps, same dumpster, same stretch of empty highway. Emma walked to the spot where she'd waited, where she'd almost frozen, where her mother's desperate gamble had somehow paid off. I was so scared. Her voice was steady, but soft. I thought I was going to die. I thought the cold was going to eat me up like a monster. Crystal wrapped her arms around her daughter. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I left you. Don't be sorry. Emma turned in her mother's embrace. You saved me. You gave me to the angels. That's not something to be sorry for. Marcus stayed back watching. This wasn't his moment. This was theirs. Emma pulled something from her pocket. A photograph. She walked to the dumpster, the same dumpster where her mother's note had been pinned, and she taped the photo in place. The image showed 3 people, Marcus, Crystal, Emma. Smiling. Together. Family. "This is for the next kid who gets left here," Emma said. "So they know someone came back. So they know it's possible to be okay." She stood straight and spoke to the empty air. "My name is Emma Grace Chen. I was abandoned here 3 years ago. I was 6 years old and I was scared and I thought nobody was coming." Her voice grew stronger. "But someone did come. 17 someones. And now I have a family and a home and people who love me. So if you're scared and alone and reading this, I want you to know, hold on. The angels are coming. They might not look like angels. They might look like regular people on bicycles, but they're coming. I promise." Crystal was crying openly now. Even Marcus felt his eyes burn. Emma turned to face them. "Okay, I'm ready to go home now." They drove back in comfortable silence. Emma fell asleep in the back seat, Mr. Buttons clutched to her chest, the worn bear finally looking peaceful. Marcus glanced at Crystal. "She's remarkable." "She's her mother's daughter." Crystal wiped her eyes. "Stubborn and resilient and too brave for her own good." "She's her father's daughter, too." Marcus kept his eyes on the road. "Whether that's biological or not, she's got his heart." Crystal reached over and took his hand. "She's got yours." The 4th year brought challenges no one saw coming. Marcus collapsed during a foundation event. One moment he was speaking to donors about the Angel Riders' mission. The next he was on the floor, paramedics working on his chest. Heart attack. Moderate. Survivable. But a warning. "This is it, Marcus." Doc didn't sugarcoat anymore. "This is your body telling you it's done. Either you listen or the next one kills you." Emma sat vigil at his hospital bed for 3 days. She refused to leave, refused to eat, refused to do anything except hold his hand and talk to Mr. Buttons. "You can't die," she whispered on the 2nd night, thinking he was asleep. "You promised you'd stay. You promised you'd find me. You found me. Now you have to stay. That's how promises work, Papa. You don't get to break them just because you're tired." Marcus opened his eyes. "I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart." Emma jumped. "You're awake. I thought the doctor said—" "The doctors don't know how stubborn I am." He squeezed her hand weakly. "I made you a promise. I keep my promises. But your heart, my heart is right here." He placed her hand on his chest. "Feel that still beating, still fighting, because that's what hearts do when they have something to fight for." Emma burst into tears. "I can't lose another Papa. I can't." "You won't. I'm too stubborn to die. Just ask Tank. He's been trying to get rid of me for 30 years. A wet laugh escaped through her sobs. "That's not funny." "It's a little funny." Crystal appeared in the doorway. She'd been handling the crisis with the foundation, keeping everything running while Marcus recovered. The strain showed in her face. "You scared us." She crossed to the bed and took his other hand. "Don't ever do that again." "I'll try my best." "That's not good enough. Emma needs you. I need you. The foundation needs you." Her voice cracked. "I need you, Marcus. I didn't think I'd ever need anyone again. But I do. I need you." Something shifted in the room. Something that had been building for 4 years finally found words. "I need you too." Marcus's voice was weak but certain. "Both of you. I didn't know I was still capable of needing. But you taught me." Emma looked between them with knowing eyes too old for her face. "Mr. Button says this is the part where you kiss." Crystal laughed despite herself. "Does he now?" "He says you've been wanting to for a really long time, but you were both too scared. He says being scared is okay, but being brave is better." Marcus looked at Crystal. Crystal looked at Marcus. "Out of the mouths of babes," he murmured. "And teddy bears, apparently." He lifted his hand, the one with all the IV lines, and touched her face. "I'm 56 years old. I've got a bad heart and too many scars and absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I'm 31. I've got trauma that might never fully heal and a daughter who talks to stuffed animals. Sounds like we're perfect for each other. Crystal leaned down and kissed him. Gentle, careful of the medical equipment, but real. Emma cheered. Finally. The 5th year brought transformation. Marcus stepped back from daily foundation operations. His heart couldn't handle the stress anymore, but his absence created space for others to step up. Crystal became executive director. Tank handled field operations. Emma, at 11 years old, became the official youth ambassador, speaking at schools and events across the country. The Angel Riders Foundation had rescued over 400 survivors in 5 years. Their model was being replicated in 12 states. Congressional legislation inspired by Emma's testimony was working its way through committee. Marcus spent his days differently now, slowly, carefully, savoring moments instead of rushing past them. He taught Emma to play chess. He read books he'd been putting off for decades. He sat on the porch with Crystal and watched the sunset, talking about everything and nothing. "Any regrets?" Crystal asked one evening. "About the path that brought you here?" Marcus thought about it, really thought. "I wish I hadn't lost Lily. I wish she'd had the chance to grow up, to become whoever she was meant to be." Crystal took his hand. "Of course. But everything else, the pain, the loss, the years of emptiness, I think it all led here, to this porch, to you, to Emma." He shook his head slowly. "If I had to do it again, every broken bone, every sleepless night, every moment of despair, I would. Because this moment right here is worth all of it. Even the heart attack. Even the heart attack. Especially the heart attack. It made me slow down long enough to actually be present." He squeezed her hand. "I spent so many years running toward death. Now I finally understand what I was running from." "See? What's that?" "Life. The real kind. The kind that hurts and heals and matters." He turned to look at her. "I was afraid of losing anyone else, so I stopped letting myself have anyone to lose. And now I have you and Emma and 17 brothers and an entire foundation of people who depend on me." He smiled. "Now I have everything to lose. And somehow that's not scary anymore. It's just life." The anniversary came around again. December 23rd, 6 years since that frozen night. The Iron Compass gathered at the gas station. Not to rescue this time. To remember. A bronze statue had been installed the previous year. Emma's design brought to life by a local artist. It depicted a small girl reaching toward the sky. Teddy bear in one hand, the other hand outstretched. The plaque read, "For every child who waits, the angels are coming." Emma stood before the crowd, survivors, volunteers, supporters, journalists. 12 years old now, tall for her age, eyes that still carried shadows but no longer flinched from light. 6 years ago, I stood on this spot and asked 17 strangers if they were angels. Her voice carried across the gathering. I was cold and scared and alone. I thought the world had forgotten me. She looked at Marcus, at Crystal, at Tank and Doc and Ghost and all the others who'd become family. But the world didn't forget me. You didn't forget me. You stopped when everyone else drove past. You saw a child in trouble and you chose to help. Not because it was easy, not because it was safe, because it was right. She held up Mr. Buttons, still worn, still missing one eye, still clutched like a lifeline. This bear carried the evidence that put a monster in prison. But more than that, he carried hope. Hope that somewhere, somehow, good people still existed. Hope that angels were real even if they didn't have wings. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice stayed strong. Today, the Angel Riders Foundation celebrates its 500th rescue. 500 children and women and survivors who are free because you chose to stop. 500 families who are healing because you chose to help. 500 futures that exist because you chose to care. She turned to Marcus. Papa Marcus taught me that being an angel isn't about perfection. It's about presence. About showing up when it matters. About keeping promises even when it costs everything. Her voice broke but held. He taught me that broken things can be mended, that lost things can be found, that families aren't made of blood, they're made of choice. She walked to where he sat in his wheelchair. The heart had taken its toll and knelt before him. You chose me, Papa. You chose Mama. You chose all of us. And I will spend the rest of my life living up to that choice. She hugged him. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. Marcus held his daughter because that's what she was, papers signed. Name changed legally and completely his daughter, and felt something he'd forgotten existed. Peace. Not the absence of pain. Not the end of struggle. But a quiet certainty that whatever came next, it would be okay. Because he hadn't walked this road alone. Because angels existed even if they wore cycling gear instead of wings. Because a worn-out teddy bear had carried more than evidence, it had carried faith. Crystal joined the embrace, then Tank, then Doc. One by one, the iron compass surrounded them, a wall of family, a fortress of love. The ride continues, Marcus whispered, barely audible, just for those closest. The ride continues, they echoed back. And it did. Emma went on to graduate top of her class, full scholarship to law school, specialization in victims' rights. By 25, she'd argued 3 cases before the Supreme Court and won them all. Crystal built the Angel Riders into a national organization. By the 10th anniversary, they operated in all 50 states, had rescued over 2,000 survivors, and had fundamentally changed how America responded to trafficking. Marcus lived longer than anyone expected. The heart held. The stubbornness won. He saw Emma graduate, saw her marry, saw his first grandchild, a little girl with her grandmother's eyes and her great-aunt Lily's name. He passed on a quiet Tuesday in April, peaceful, surrounded by family. The last words he heard were Emma's voice singing softly, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." The same song Crystal had sung through closet doors all those years ago. The song that had kept hope alive in the darkest places. Now it carried Marcus home. The funeral drew thousands, cyclists from every state, survivors whose lives he'd changed, officials and ordinary people and everyone in between. They lined the streets of the small Vermont town and rode in formation behind the hearse. Emma spoke at the graveside. She was 32 now, a mother, a lawyer, a leader in her own right. My father found me in a snowstorm when I was 6 years old. He didn't know me, didn't owe me anything. He was just a man on a bicycle who chose to stop when everyone else drove past. She held Mr. Button still always after all these years and smiled through her tears. He taught me that heroes don't wear capes. They wear cycling gear and military dog tags and scars from lives fully lived. He taught me that family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up. He taught me that broken things can be beautiful, that lost things can be found, and that one moment of courage can change the trajectory of 1,000 lives. She looked at the sky. Clear blue, December again. Papa Marcus, I hope heaven has good roads. I hope the wind is always at your back. And I hope you finally found Lily, the first daughter you loved, waiting to meet the second. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for keeping your promises. Thank you for teaching the world what angels really look like. She placed Mr. Buttons on the casket. Take him with you. He's earned his rest too. The funeral ended with silence, and then the sound that Marcus would have loved most, engines roaring to life as hundreds of cyclists revved in tribute. Thunder acknowledging thunder, the living honoring the dead. And somewhere in a different hospital on a different Christmas morning 20 years earlier, a little girl named Lily smiled in her father's arms and whispered the words she'd always known were true. See, Daddy, I told you the angels were real. Emma stood at her father's grave long after the others had gone. Her daughter, 3 years old, already stubborn, already brave, tugged at her hand. Mommy, who was Grandpa Marcus? Emma knelt down, eye to eye, heart to heart. Grandpa Marcus was a man who stopped when everyone else drove past. He was the one who taught me that one moment of courage can change everything. Was he an angel? Emma smiled, the same smile her father had given her on that frozen night so many years ago. No, sweetheart. He was something better. He was human. He was flawed and scared and broken in all kinds of ways. But he chose to help anyway. He chose to love anyway. He chose to believe that one ordinary person could make a difference. She picked up her daughter and held her tight. And he was right. He made all the difference in the world. The little girl thought about this, serious, considering. Just like her grandmother had done once in a hospital room filled with veterans and Christmas carols and impossible hope. Can I be like him when I grow up? Emma kissed her daughter's forehead. You already are. They walked away from the grave together, mother and daughter, the setting sun casting long shadows behind them. A new generation carrying forward an old promise. The ride continues, always continues. Because there are still children waiting in the cold. And there are still angels, ordinary, imperfect, beautifully human angels who choose to stop. That is the truth Marcus Chen lived and died for. That is the truth Emma carries forward. That is the truth that changes the world. One stopped cyclist, one rescued child, one kept promise at a time. The ride never ends. It only changes riders.